Hear that? It makes a whistling sound, almost like Jim was saying. And that way you get a real quack.
A lot like talking. If you'll come, you heard Buck say, like he thinks he says the word quit. His mechanic's ear says quit, but the air comes, he's pushing the air out with his diaphragm. So it becomes talking, and different words will give you different sounds. Hut will be, quit might be a little longer. Oot is another good word, O-O-O-O-T. And that'll all give you different sounds. Where a lot of people mess up, I think, when they start to learn to sound like a duck, you get that. It's that old basic lick, that is a series of quacks put together. So when you start having trouble, always back up to that first quack. Then do 1, 2, 3, 4 quacks identical. And then you can start to get the sound to it. Once you get that, then start turning them into numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Still a quack, but it starts putting rhythm to it. Or
Three Blind Mice.
Three Blind Mice.
Ronnie Wright. Been gone a long time, but he was a great guy and a great caller. He loved teaching people, especially little folks out of Georgia. Everybody knows Three Blind Mice. Whack, whack, whack. Three blind, you got the cadence of it in Three Blind Mice. And it's really.
If you listen close, you can hear the duck call say. You hear the duck call say Three Blind Mice, or you can hear it like numbers. You can almost count with it, and once you get used to that, the duck call will become an extension of your voice. You won't look at a bunch of ducks and go, okay, Buck better tell me to do what now?
What you say?
You know, you just pick it up and you'll do what you got to do.
You know, so the main thing we're trying to get across is this ain't hard. Or me and him would never learn. Okay? So I'll tell you right now.
That's a good point.
You know.
It's a really good point.
So I mean, I always tease and say, you know, we teach people from Mississippi to do this, so anybody can. Because my wife and her two really mean sisters are from Mississippi. So anyway, but the main thing is with these little guys and little gals and people that are older to just beginning to learn. Denny came over by my booth a while ago, and God, I love him for a bunch of my duck calls. But you know, he said I just started calling a year ago, and he sounds great. He's one of those people that's got a knack for it, and he's not. That's my wife, I'm sure. It is, bro.
She heard you talking about her sisters.
Yes, she did. She may have. She turned this off.
Yeah, let me have that phone.
Yeah, we got our #1 selling duck call, y'all, is named after her oldest sister, Brenda. And what do we call it, you know? Double mast. The other one's after Foulmouth. That's good. So anyway,
bottom line there, duck calling ain't hard. A lot of people make it out.
that's right. It's not hard.
You asked something earlier before we come down here about it. We were going to talk about how to blow a duck call. And I never know which way one of these is going to go until we start talking. What you asked about helping you become a better duck caller. What are you looking for?
In Ohio, I can tell you the 5 sounds I need to be a successful goose hunter. What are those for duck call?
5 sounds?
Oh, sounds?
Be in the right place at the right time. You know?
Which ain't Ohio.
Yeah, I mean, it can make a little difference then. But if you learn how to do a single quack, learn how to cluck, and learn how to put a basic technical word in D crescendo to the lick. Just that's the main 3 things you need to learn to call ducks. The big thing you got to learn is timing on when to blow them, how to blow them, and what kind of deflection to put on.
What he's saying is, if you know, being a real good duck caller, you look a whole lot better if you find out where they're going and you're waiting on them when they get there. You know, and that's really, it's humorous, but it's very, very true. And the big thing that Jim, pretty much we're on the same page on this is, I don't call the ducks that are coming to me. Especially, you know, if I raise up and see ducks crossing out there 150, 250 yards away and the wind's drifting to them, and they turn and start heading that way and lock those wings up and start doing like this, the next call I make is the most important call for me of the day. It's bam, bam, get them, Bobby, get them, Mel, bam. Okay, what I'm getting at is when they're coming, if you call them and they start coming into your decoys, you don't got to call anymore. I mean, when they're going to land in your decoys, but if you keep calling, the only thing you risk doing is having them go, wait a minute, Bob, that's not true. How many times have you called the ducks or geese? Geese are terrible about it. And they're coming, all of a sudden, you keep calling, and they just slide off to one side or the other about 85 yards away. Ducks do the same thing, you know, and it's because they figure out that you're not a duck. You know, they either see you move, they pinpoint where you are, or you say something or make a sound that just don't fit. It may have got them shot yesterday.
Or they see something that just
don't look right.
Ain't right.
You know, but how many times you've been sitting there, you know, or going out to pick up decoys and they come right in on top of you. You know, I mean, I think that most people, myself included, sometimes get a little bit carried away and
I call too much.
Yeah, I call too much. I think, man, that sounds good. And then the ducks go, no, it doesn't. You know, so if they're coming to you and they can look at you and see you, I'm not talking about 400 yards high, but I'm talking about working ducks. You know, I'm going to let them pass, and then I'm going to call them out to see wingtips and tail feathers. A wingtip and tail feather are all, you know, and get after them just a little bit, you know.
You can use a duck call to call duck to you, or push ducks away.
Yeah.
And calling on the corners, as we was talking about, I'll let him finish it up.
No, that's fine.
That is probably the best thing you can think of when you're working ducks. If, like you said, if they're working ducks coming right at you, let them come. You know, they get over here along the side of you, pull them back around. You know, there's points in there you can hit them, and you would change up as what you need to say to them in the process.
And what will happen is, you know, at some point, they may have circled once or twice, and they'll start to drift away and go on, and you're going to want to call at them harder. You got to turn them around. I've watched Jimbo and them in their videos, and just about everybody, myself included. When those ducks turn to leave, we're all going to start. Just get after them. And on those videos, every time we do that, those ducks turn around and come back. That is the magic of editing. But we're gonna give them all we got, as long as we can, until they turn around and come back, or we give out or get completely out. You know, I mean.
Now some folks will call that a comeback call. I'm gonna pick up here a little bit,
there you go.
which it really is not a comeback call, because a duck didn't grow up, wasn't hatched out of an egg, and his mom didn't teach it a hell call, comeback call, make call, feed call, or nothing else. Although I say that there's a difference between feed and contentment type calls, but the rest of it is how it's inflected. And I've got a fun little story there. Like Buck walked in, I ain't seen Buck in a while. Man, I ain't seen my buddy, I ain't seen him in a long time. Buck's walking up to me, he owes me $100. Hey Buck.
Hey Buck.
Buck's about to step on an 8-foot-long rattle moss. Hey Buck.
Yeah.
Buck's way yonder across the field. Hey Buck. Now, I've said the exact same words each time, but each time I said those same exact two words that had different meanings. How many times you told your wife, I'll be home at 7 o'clock, you get home at 10:30? What's the difference between where have you been or where have you been? You understand immediately what that means. That is inflection. And that is the same thing with calling ducks, geese, turkeys, or anything else. How you apply it has a whole lot to why it works. And that's what makes that a comeback call, because they're going away. It's not because of anything special he did as far as a series, or it was fast, or it was slow, or it was the timing. Is what, and the more you put on it, the more meaning you change.
The emphasis you put on it. So, I mean, because you can do the same thing when ducks are coasting by here, or you may just hit a little, you know. But it's like Jim's saying, if they're going away, or you're trying to get their attention to the distance, it's hey Jimbo, or it's hey Jimbo, you know. So,
are you happy, mad, sad, whatever it is, that's inflected, and that's important. Walk up on old duck, sit on her, she's all happy out there, she's just quacking, she's